So it's been about a year since I left my 9 to 5. I want to share with you the events that happened those 2 days that led me to fire my boss. So let's get into it. It's a Thursday. The store is packed solid with retailers and staffers. When the owner of the company walks in that morning, he makes a beeline straight over to me. He then begins to yell at me, berate me, and basically verbally abuse me. I look up at him and I'm silent while he takes out his frustration onto me. All while everybody's continuing to work as though nothing is happening. As the yelling continued, I became more and more certain that this person was miserable in the choices that they've made or the lack thereof, pretty much the same as I was. After about a minute or so of the yelling, I finally had a word to get in and I said, okay, I get the point. At that moment, he stopped. He checked himself and he said, I want you to meet me in my office. Privately, he changed his tune. He told me what an amazing worker I was. He told me that I was so much more capable of achieving more. And basically that he had higher expectations from me and that he really needed more from me. He understood what led up to him getting frustrated and explained to me the events that occurred and the reason why he had approached the situation the way he did. However, his explanation didn't matter at that point, as I just got through what one would consider one of the most humiliating experiences. However, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Let me explain. At that moment of feeling humiliated, feeling like a child, feeling so small and being spoken down to, that moment, I decided to do something. I said to myself, tomorrow's the end of the month. I'm going to turn in my 2-week notice. So the next day, I arrive to work. I sit in my chair. I start cleaning up some loose ends. I take care of some account issues and basically clean up my area, and I'm getting ready to turn in my notice. However, that didn't happen. Instead, I clocked out, went to my car. Before I turned the key, I stopped to reflect on what just happened. You see, what really happened is I talked myself out of resigning. Why? Because I was comfortable. I was getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. I was getting the bills paid. So basically, I was comfortable with being unsettled in my life. And suddenly, something happened. A voice spoke inside of my head. That voice said, courage, have courage, do it now. If you don't do it, it's never going to happen. So at that moment, I turned on the ignition. I drove down to the customer parking lot. I went straight to HR's cubicle, voice quivering, hands shaking. I handed her my key card and I said, this is for you. I'm leaving. I'm not coming back. Ultimately, it came down to making a decision to find the courage to step out of my comfort zone, which was a paycheck. That ultimate decision was to be free. You see, it took the pain of being humiliated, talked down to start putting into action my search for purpose and fulfillment in life. As soon as I fired my boss, that's when the magic started to flow in. I committed to a new me and I used that experience to fuel a new version of myself. I started focusing on how I can make a difference in the world and help people in a meaningful way. I started making a commitment on removing the mental blocks that were holding me back from going all in. Unfortunately, sometimes you need pain as the catalyst to commit to who you are and what you want to commit to. Finally, I want to say I have no hard feelings for this boss. Instead, I have one thing I want to say to this boss and to the many bosses that I've had prior. Thank you.